Congratulations on completing your library program. How's the job search going?
You're probably scouring the job boards and carefully reading each job description for what's posted there. We've been there. I'm Nicole McKinnon, a part-time borrower services technician at Seneca Libraries' Markham campus.
I'm Tanya Humphrey, part-time information services librarian at Seneca College Markham campus.
And I'm Catherine Clegus, information services librarian at King campus. One thing we've all noticed is that what you read in a job description is sometimes just a glimpse of what you actually end up doing in the job. The things you end up doing day to day aren't always what you expect.
This video illustrates how one candidate missed the opportunity to highlight her skills and knowledge in an interview. Catherine and I provide an overview of academic library work experience that you need that will help you avoid similar mistakes in your interview process.
We also illustrate the key responsibilities for a library technician at a college library. I provide some further insight into what helped me in the interview stage as well as on the job.
Welcome. Thanks for joining me for this interview today. As you know from the job description, it's for an information services librarian. It's going to be working with the nursing program. So getting started, since information literacy really is such a main thrust of the program, can you talk to me about your previous experience with information literacy?
When I was in library school in one of my courses, I took it upon myself to build a wiki for the course, and I had embedded a chat room there so there could be communication in and outside of the classroom, and I had my tweets filtering into the side panel on different course topics.
Okay.
Just different ways to incorporate Web 2.0.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. But it says here on your resume, that you taught some IL classes in your co-op position at University of Ontario. Could you talk to me about your experiences with that, please?
Similar to the experience in library school and the coursework there, experimented with Web 2.0. Stop. Clearly, the interviewee thinks that she needs to illustrate her Web 2.0 skills. But for this position, she needs to illustrate her information literacy instruction skills. Both are important to the profession, but not for this particular position. Similarly, when I applied to Seneca Libraries for my job, I thought I was going to have to talk up my Web 2.0 technology skills. But as it turns out, the job was much more about information literacy instruction.
Along the lines of information literacy, sometimes it's really difficult to get faculty to let us into the classrooms. Basically, we're talking about library marketing. Could you talk to me about some ways that you would market the library to both faculty and students?
I would assume that with faculty, once they grew to understand the value of library resources, they would be anxious to have library representatives come into their classroom to talk about library resources and services. Definitely, I could see that students would be a more difficult group to target. Stop. The interviewee obviously doesn't understand that liaising with faculty is a big part of the job. I spend a lot of time making connections with faculty, explaining to them how best to incorporate the library's resources and services into their course. I find that the better job I do promoting the library to faculty, the more interested students are.
Students have no idea how useful the library can be. In the digital age, they feel they can do a quick Google search and get the answers they need for their assignments. It's our job as librarians to show them how best to use the resources we have available. Thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I guess I'll be in touch with you in the next week or so to touch base.
Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks.
One of the most important qualities that a library technician in an academic library possesses is familiarity with the products held within the collection at their library. These may include such items as books, ebooks, databases, both general and subject-specific, vertical files, and so on, depending upon the library that you work in. I keep up to date on my knowledge by reading training manuals, attending training sessions when they're available, and examining new items when they come into the library so that I'm familiar with what's in our collection. When a library technician in an academic library is familiar with the products held within their library's collection, they are then able to provide high-quality support for the faculty, staff, and students attending the institution. This support may come in many different forms, from answering basic or in-depth reference questions to showing users how to operate print or electronic sources, helping to troubleshoot with computer equipment, and so on. Patrons in an academic library come in many different forms. They have different abilities, different levels of understanding, and levels of learning. A successful library technician is able to read their patron and understand what they're looking for and help them find exactly what it is that will satisfy their needs. A successful applicant for a position in an academic library as a library technician will be able to show that they've had experience assisting people in a variety of different settings, particularly a library one. Library technicians are often the first people in a library that a patron comes across in their search for information. You can find us behind the reference desk, in the stacks, in the cafeteria, in the hallways. We're all over the campus. This is why library technicians must be comfortable being a point person for their library and fielding a variety of different questions no matter where they are on campus. Helpful library technicians are comfortable answering a variety of different questions about the campus that they work on, from hours of operation to directions to different outlets to where the nearest photocopier is. Library technicians must be knowledgeable about the entire campus that they work on, and if they don't know the answer to a question, they must know exactly where to go to find the answer. My job often requires that I jump in and help at the Audiovisual Services Department when they're busy, which means I need to be familiar with their policies, services, and equipment. Similarly, myself and other library technicians that I work with often give in-depth library tours to new students, which means we need to be ready at any time to jump up and give a good tour. An enormous part of being a successful candidate for a position as a library technician in an academic library lies in the individual's ability to show that they're going to be a self-motivated member of the library team. It is integral to the success of a library that all team members, including library technicians, constantly be on the lookout for ways to improve the library itself as well as its service environment. While not always glamorous but very important, these types of tasks could include such things as shelf reading, creating displays, participating in open houses and campus activities, and so on. Be prepared in your interview to show the many ways in which you have contributed to the overall success of your previous organizations. After all, an entire library full of motivated self-starters is a successful library.
In summary, these are the most important skills to our positions.
The most important skill I think you need as an academic librarian is to be a people person. You're constantly interacting with faculty, students, and your colleagues. It's also very important that you have the technical skills and knowledge that you need for the position and that you be well versed in the resources available to you. Lastly, you must be flexible. You never know when faculty or student are going to come in and want help with something.
I'd say the two most important skills are actually intertwined: instructional skills and relationship building. Basically, this means making meaningful connections with the faculty and with the students, both inside the classroom and beyond. The last skill I'd highlight is time management. Between balancing committee work, reference desk duties, liaison work, and beyond, it can be a mathematical challenge.
Library technicians work in the front lines of libraries each and every day. This makes the range of skills that they need to possess in order to work in a library quite wide. Most importantly, knowing about the resources in the user group your library serves is most important. Secondly, you must be comfortable providing superior customer service to anyone that comes looking for help at any time. And finally, you need to be an enthusiastic and motivated member of your team, comfortable being a point person for anyone that comes looking for help. Don't forget, before you go into an interview, understand the library that you're going to interview with. Understand their patron group and any special collections they may have to serve those patrons. Take a deep breath and don't forget to smile.
Bye.